Hello everybody, it's Monday and we hope it's drama free. That's always good. Hope you're doing well. I do. We got rain, badly needed rain, and that was a huge blessing. And it was lovely. I got to sit and in my favorite spot where I journal. I got to sit there and watch the rain, and it was so unusual that I took a picture of it. We've had no rain for many weeks. Hello, Denise. You can use some drama free. Me too. Hi, Rhonda. Good to see you. Hello, Ava. Good to see you. Chance just decided to come up here. Hi, Tori. And then he jumped down. Apparently, he wants me to give him some treats. That must be what he's demanding. He's a funny cat. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing great. I got here. Hello, Angela. Good to see you. I got here just a couple minutes early, and I thought, we'll just start a little bit early, huh? Why not? Hope you're doing well today. I do hope you're doing well. It has been, like I said, it's been kind of a gray day just because of the being overcast from the rain. But boy, that rain was really welcome, not only for the crops in around the area, because there was a lot of rain up in the area where there's a lot of crop farmland, but also just on the yards. Everybody's yard where I live, it looks like shredded wheat right now, and feels like shredded wheat when you walk out on it. Hello, Peggy and Dot. Miss Dorothy Dot. Good to see you guys. You've had a ton of rain this summer. We did early. We had a lot of rain early, and then nothing. Chance. He's walking around the tables, talking to me, trying to convince me, trying to wear me down is what he's trying to do. Trying to wear me down and go feed him his treats, because it's the time in the week when he gets treats, don't you know? Yeah. So let's see. He absolutely wants treats. Can you see him? You can't really see him. He's right. Yeah, you can kind of see him. His head's right behind the logo. It's right there. So his head's right behind the logo. By the time I take the logo out, he will move. Let's. He did. Never mind. He did. Oh, no, he's still here. Okay. Crazy cat. Crazy boy. What? Are you? You can just see his ears sticking up at the bottom of the picture. What are you doing? Huh? Are you going to come over here and talk to people? Talk to your adoring fans? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Out at the Studley Duck's place. He lives across town from me, about 20 minutes away, and he lives out in a much more rural area, surrounded by woods and stuff, and he has two cats. One is named Blue, and the other one is named Braveheart, and they're outdoor cats. They help with the rodent population, because his house backs up to woods, so there's plenty of food. He also, of course, feeds them. but there's plenty of hunting territory there. And these were from the same litter, and Braveheart is just as friendly as can be, thinks he's a dog. And Blue, hands off. Just hands off. He's a beautiful tuxedo, black and white tuxedo. He's absolutely gorgeous. Every once in a while, Studley Duck gets his hands on him and gets him. It's rare, but once in a while he'll get his hands on him and he's able to take him in and get his shots caught up. But he just really does not like to be touched necessarily. And I went out there early this morning for breakfast. It's hard to turn down an invitation when somebody sends you a text and said, "I'm making breakfast. Would you like to come have it with me on the deck?" And I'm like, well, yeah. So it was bright and early when I went out there. Anyway, Blue greeted me, and he just sat and waited for me to kind of sneak up on him, slowly, and he finally let me pat his tail. So it's like, okay, progress. We'll take it. Oh, Angela, that's too bad. I've now lost track. I think he's had either his third treatment. It could be the fourth. I've now lost track. I need to actually write it down. And the side effects from the chemo are not, so far, have not been too bad. So his numbers have stayed pretty good with his blood numbers and all the different things. Hello, Dana. You kitties hear Chance talking. Yes, he's full of talk. So, yeah, your sister-in-law is doing pretty good too. Good. Okay. Oh, Dorothy just delivered her work for the exhibition that starts tomorrow. Oh, good for you, Dorothy. That's neat. Congratulations on doing that. That is wonderful. Okay, are you ready to go in the other room? Are you ready to go in the other room, you old skinny thing? Skinny boy. He's the skinniest cat now. Yes, are you ready to go in and get your treats so I can get started since we got people here today? Okay, all right. No. When he starts tromping on my desk, it's a real scary thing. Okay. All right. Come on. After a while. The cat is a mess. He is just a mess. Okay, so Friday we gave away bookmarks, and I have addresses for the following people: Kate, Connie Kane, Elvis, Denise, and Joni. I have addresses for all of you. I still need from Sharon Lombard, Judy Ogre, and Brenda. And I don't know Brenda's last name. So if you guys, hi Tina, from the bathtub. That is my favorite, one of my favorite places. You're singing my song, Tina. So I will try to announce that again, if I remember, by the end of the stream. So there are some of you that I still need to hear from. And if you can go to HowToGetCreative.com and fill out a support ticket, that is the best way to get a hold of me. If you absolutely, for some reason, can't figure out how to do it, the only other option really to get your address to me is to go through Instagram direct messages. Yeah. And hi, Elvis, aka Deborah. You live just down the road from me. I did not realize that. Did not realize that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so you should be able to go to howtogetcreative.com/support. That should get you, bring up a support ticket. But, you know, everybody's system is different. Everybody's knowledge base is different. There's just differences we all deal with. And sometimes one thing's easy for one person and not so easy for the next person. Okay, so we're going to get into some more fabric printing. We're going to do something a little different tonight. We're going to do a couple of different things. And I'm cleaning, going through stuff. I told you that the other day, Friday. Going through stuff, getting rid of a lot of stuff. It's one of those things that you just, until you have to make decisions about your possessions, you don't realize how much stuff you really have to go through. And there hasn't been a reason to go through it, but all of a sudden there might be a reason to go through it, because we're trying to decide what we're going to do. Truthfully, who knows? Who knows? But in my going through things, and technology, how technology has changed. Obviously, it changes at the speed of light anymore. I was going through the stereo cabinet. It's one of those, it's not an expensive cabinet by any means. It was probably a piece of junk. We bought two of them, two pieces of junk. And, but one, it's actually a stereo, it housed all the components of your sound system and all. So we had a multi-CD changer. I don't know what else is in that stack. There's not a turntable, but there are two other things, maybe a radio. I don't know. There's like three ancient pieces of stuff that haven't even been plugged in for years. So those are going to go to the electronics recycle place as soon as I figure out when I can do that. Hello, Starla. And but in that cabinet were a lot of other things as well. And one of the things that I found is kind of funny because it is, I found some decks of cards. Now the thing that's funny about this is that when Rick and Izzy were home, we played, we kind of got overloaded. Sometimes you just get overloaded with the magnitude of whatever's going on, and so you just need to just stop and do something completely different. And so Izzy and I sat on the floor one night and played double solitaire, which should have been really easy because I had like a million decks, not a million, but a whole bunch of decks of cards, playing cards. But I got rid of all of those except two decks not too long ago. Of course, that's the law. And one of the decks, I was desperate for something to do. There were two decks of bicycle cards, a blue deck and a red deck. And I was desperate for something to do one night on a Monday night, and so I grabbed one of those and started making ATCs on it. So that took care of that deck. So we were down to one deck. And then I remembered that I bought this deck when I was traveling, because I was so interested in the Aboriginal art. So I bought these in the airport as we were traveling back from Sydney, is where I bought them. And so I bought two decks, and I thought, oh, that's good. I'll have one I can just, use as a deck to play with. Well, here's the thing about this deck of cards. They're not high quality, they're not real high quality playing cards. meaning that they're not real slick. And so you talk about something that's hard to play with. Like, it's hard to shuffle them. It's hard to, to do all the things that you need to do with a deck of cards when they're not real slick. They're great to look at, however, and that's what I got them for. I got them for the art. I got them for the art, not for the playability. But anyway, we managed to make that work. And I said, well, next time I'm at Walmart, I'll go buy another deck of cards so that if we ever want to do this again, I'll be prepared like a good Girl Scout, right? And then I forgot. And then a couple days, I don't know, 4 or 5 days probably later, after Race and I had both just kind of gone on overload, we just sat down and played double solitaire. Of course, me sitting on the floor with my legs out in front of me is not as easy as it once was. And then today, while I'm looking through stuff, guess what I found? I found not only two more decks of cards in a place that I would never expect to find them, but they're really interesting cards. This is, can you believe your eyes, 52 visual illusions on playing cards, and more illusions and visual oddities, 52 plus visual illusions on playing cards. So it's plus. Anyway, I thought you guys might think this was fun to see. Now they are the same, and there's instructions here, but anyway, I'll look at that later. They've never been out of the box. They've never been played with. I don't think they've ever been played with. But the back looks the same, other than the printing is that, is only on one end. So the question is, are there gray spots at the intersections? Are there gray spots at the intersections? So it's kind of an interesting thing to see on the one side of the cards. Exactly. This is a great thing to play with a Studley deck, except because he is very distractible, except he's not a card player or game player. Anyway, on the other side, each one is unique. And so then there's a question. Are the straight lines, are the dark lines straight? What is this? What is this? I just thought these were kind of fun. Does this figure move? These are the kind of thing, so this is another one, does this figure move? And these are the kinds of things that can drive you crazy. Are the holes on the top or the inside? That is truly an optical illusion, depending on how you look at it. Are they on the top or on the inside? It's one of those where it can kind of make your eyes go crossed when you look at these. What is this? Okay, this one I don't know. I haven't looked at this. Somebody's going to be able to say, well, that's such and such. I cannot tell you because my eyes are not focusing on it enough to be able to tell. Looks like it should be part of a country. Homemade chicken noodle soup. I know. Does anybody know what that is? I don't know what that is. Can you tell me? We'll turn it this way. Can you see what it is? It's funny how sometimes your eyes can see something right off and sometimes they can't. Looks like a cartoon character playing an instrument. Wow, I can't see it. Anyway, I can't see it, so what is this? I don't know. Does this figure pop in and out? I mean, some of them do make your eyes go crazy. To me, it's like a bench seat. But then you look a different, you make your eyes look differently, and it comes down and goes in and then goes back. I mean, they can make your eyes go crazy. Looks like something Tim Burton would draw. Yeah, I agree on that one. Yeah. Which nation does this flag represent? I don't have a clue. And by the time, unless someone, I mean, it would be unusual to have a nation still have the same name, honestly. We'll do a couple more and then we'll move on. Which set of 8s and S's look more symmetrical? Which set of 8s and S's look more symmetrical? Well, to me, the S's look symmetrical and the 8s look symmetrical, but as far as the sets, which set of 8s and S's look more symmetrical? That's kind of a goofy way to ask it. Anyway, are the black sides inside or outside? Don't you just, I mean, they just do make your eyes go cuckoo, don't they? Look at it one way. I mean, it almost looks like it's a twisted figure. Yeah. Anyway, so there was that set. Let's see, what's this one? This spiral can make things look larger or smaller. I don't know how that works. This figure can make colors. I have no idea how that is, unless you look at it, stare at it. Sometimes you stare at some of these and then you look at a white wall and you can see the thing they're talking about. I don't know if that's how that one goes. Anyway, there's instructions. Maybe I should read the instructions. But Dr. J.R. Block and Dr. Harold E. Euchre, professors of psychology, there you go, Hofstra University, Hempstead, New York. Well, it must be good if a psychologist did it, right? Or else crazy, I don't know which. This set is, looks like, again, instructions. Same thing on the one side. And the question is, how many circles do you see? That's the question. So, how many circles do you see? And to me, the answer would be different if you want complete circles or partial circles or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so this one is, what is this? Good question. What is this? I do not know. All right, here's another one. Is there a square? Yes, I see the square. It's the suggested square in the center. I see that. This is, which auditorium has the thicker columns? Yeah, that is an optical illusion because I bet they're exactly the same. I bet they're exactly the same. Probably are, but that definitely looks to me like the white ones are thicker. How many right angles are there? I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to get out a protractor and look at it. I don't think any of them are right angles, true right angles. Do you think there are? Somebody tell me. The other thing was a goalpost. Could be. What is in red? Well, it could be a 13. I would say, oops, sorry. I would say it's a 13, but it also could kind of suggest a B. Yeah, huh? Hi, Gray. Good to see you. Two more. A reversible figure. A reversible figure. Reversible figure. Okay. I'm not sure what they mean by reversible figure. Some of these are just too smart for me. Here's this one. What is this? Okay. This is a word. Yeah, that's a word. Do you guys see the word in the spaces? What word do you see there? You got to look around the lines and see the spaces. Yep, it's west. See? W-E-S-T. Those are a little easier for me to see. And this one, spin me and see the color. Well, I can't spin it. Oh, apparently I did because it has a hole in it. We must have played with these at one time. Either that or Race played with them. That's probably what happened because there's already a hole in the card. Okay, you ready? I put a pin in it. We'll see if we can spin it. Whoop, you got to keep it on the pin, Barb. Okay. Well, this could be easier said than done. All right, let me know if you see any colors. I don't see any colors. Do you guys see colors? I don't see colors. Anyway, so clearly Race or one of us has done this before. All right, two more and then we'll move on. You saw blue? Did you? Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, can you make the apple red? Sorry, I keep moving it off screen. Can you make the apple red and the banana yellow? Can you make the apple red and the banana yellow? The answer to that for me is no. Can you guys do that? You saw blue in that one? Man, I didn't see it. Can you make the apple red and the banana yellow? Well, give me a paint pen. Give me the paint pen and I'll take care of it. Okay, do you see 6 cubes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 7 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild how that does that? There's a quilt pattern like this, tumbling blocks, that is such an interesting pattern. One more and then we're done. Okay. Palace guards wear black hats and red coats. Can you see those colors? I don't know. Is this one you stare at and then look at a white wall? I don't know. We can't end on that one. Let's try one more. Here. Okay. So there's the down the steps. Turned around. You still go down the steps. Okay. Not much. Doesn't take much brain power for that. Anyway. You're welcome. If I twisted your brain a little bit, there you go. I'll look at the directions and see if it maybe we can do some more of those. It is good to make your mind kind of work. Back years ago, probably in the 70s, when I was late 60s, early 70s, when I was in high school and graduating from high school, those pop art, what do they call, op art things, were posters and stuff were so popular, and you could get these there were books and there were posters and all that kind of stuff. Man, you could put those on your wall. Of course, that was back when the drug era was LSD and all that stuff was really coming into its own. And I will tell you what, even without, I never took an illegal drug. or smoked pot, which was illegal then. But boy, if you had people that did, they could really get into those, and that kind of art. Oh yeah, and I would try to see whatever the thing was in those images. I would try to see what it was, and you almost had to kind of cross your eyes or blur your eyes or something. And sometimes you'd see them, and once you'd see it, most of the time you could see it again. But seeing whatever the image was the first time, that was a real trick. Okay, so what we're going to do, first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to take this piece of fabric, which we printed on the gel plate, monoprint plate. I'll get out of the picture so you can see. And I'm going to paint it. And so what I've got, I have a little dish for paint. And then I have a few Dynaflow paints. These are very thin fabric paints that behave more like dye. And so I'm going to put this combination. There's 3 colors here actually. 2 of them are the same. I'm going to put a little bit of a blue, and this color is Azure Blue. It's number 814. Dynaflow by Jacquard is what I'm using. And this one is Emerald Green, number 820, Emerald Green. And so we're going to put a few drops of that. All I'm after really is to tint the background of this. I don't know why my throat has decided to be contrary. Who knows? And apparently this one's not going to work for us, so we'll use the other one. Fortunately, we have a backup. And this color is Violet, number 811. Okay. These come in larger containers than these, but especially at I am so sorry. I don't know why my throat has decided to do this. Maybe it'll straighten out. You can get these in what's called an exciter pack, and it's a packaging about like so, and it has 8 or 10 colors, 8 or 10 colors in it, and it's a starter pack of these small bottles of Dynaflow. And then if you like the Dynaflow, then you can get it in bigger quantities. And you can get those, of course you can get anything on Amazon. You can get them at Joann Fabrics, usually, and sometimes Hobby Lobby would have it. Sometimes Michael's would have them. But yeah, you just never really quite know who's going to have what product. You can always get it from Jacquard, the Jacquard people, or Pro Chemical. Different fabric suppliers you can get them. Okay, so I've just diluted those 3 colors because I just kind of want to tint the background. And I'm going to spray this with water just to get it damp, because it's going to make the paint go further. And I've done nothing to this. I've not heat set it. This is just acrylic paint that also had some fabric medium in it. So it should be fine, but no. You never know. Okay, so I'm just going to use a stiff brush. And then let's just go for it and paint this fabric. Just doesn't really matter what's going to happen here. I'm just trying to tint the background. I have on my lovely shirt here tonight. This is my one remaining really crappy shirt that I thought it would be good to put on, since I may be getting acrylic paint on me again. I certainly did on Friday when we were fabric printing. Most of it came out of my blue shirt, which is an old crappy shirt as well. but most of it came out, which was surprising to me. I sprayed it with oxy something, some kind of fabric pre-treater, oxy something or other. Very surprising to me that most of that acrylic paint came out, but it did, which was good. I hope you guys have been having a good week. So I'm just tinting this because there was quite a bit of space that did not have any paint on it. So I thought, well, we'll just tint it. Now it will lighten up considerably, because that's what acrylic paint does. It lightens up, but it should be interesting to look at. And this is the other side of it. So maybe we'll put a little bit more on this side. Since it is paint as opposed to a dye, we'll add some more of this on this side. And then you have a double-sided fabric, which means that then you have to choose which side you're going to use. And that's okay. You know, it's good to have choices, right? Okay, so that definitely changed that piece of fabric, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang this piece of fabric up. If somebody here will help me remember before I sign off to go get it, I'm going to hang it in the other room where it doesn't matter what it drips on, and then we'll look at it. Okay? So give me a second. I'll go hang it up and I'll be right back. Okay, so there we got that. And then I have another piece of fabric that I thought we would put some paint on. And I'm just going to use the same colors I have out here. It's another one. This is one of those that looks like somebody, and it looks like Chance had his way with this one. Not everything you do on a jelly plate turns out the way that you hope it will. Actually, maybe I'll get another color of paint. Hold on just a second. Okay, let's do these. This is Scarlet and Magenta. This is the next size up container that these paints come in. So I don't know what shape these are in. Look like they're pretty good. It's a very liquidy paint. Very, very liquid paint. So I'm going to put a little bit of Scarlet, which is number 805. And a little bit of magenta, number 809. Hi, Darla. It's good to see you. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of that in there. And then a little bit of water to thin them down. Okay. And I don't know why I chose those colors. I just chose them because I chose them, right? Because that's what I do most of the time when I'm on stream. Not always. But I'm going to just dampen the fabric. Chance has apparently now consumed all of his treats. He's ready to come out. This is just off-white muslin. Nothing fancy, just an off-white muslin. Okay, so let's take some of this magenta. And just kind of dance over the surface of this fabric and see if we can make a difference. I'm going to use up all that paint real quick. So we will give it a little bit more. This time I'll just go live dangerously and pour it into the container. If I weren't quite so stingy about it, I would just mix up a nice big container of it, but you know, I hate having things left over. So I will err on the side of not enough usually. Okay, so that's magenta and this is scarlet. So we'll add some scarlet. See if we can impact this fabric in a positive way. How's that for fancy language? It means, can we change it into something that we'd like to look at? That's what that means. Well, I ran out of that one too. Of course I did. Well, we have more magenta, so we'll just keep going with the magenta. And then if I run out of magenta, what we'll do is we'll dip into the other colors. And the brush I'm using is a Dina Wakley brush. Those tend to be pretty stiff bristled brushes. Okay, we have a little bit more fabric and ran out of paint, so let's go to the purple and add purple in this. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I like it better already. And then I will do things on the surface of the fabric with some of these fabric paints in these tulip slick writers, but I really need to let this dry a little bit. So I don't know, in real life this looks a whole lot better. On camera, on the computer, it still looks like a big fat mess, but in real life it looks a lot better. Are you, Rhonda? Yeah, Brenda, I see you in the chat, and also I need to get your address. Hi, Linda. Brenda, I need your address. I need your whole name, your mailing address. If you would go to HowToGetCreative.com, you should be able to go HowToGetCreative.com/support and get there, or go to HowToGetCreative.com and click on the purple support tab and give me your address. As a last resort, if you can't, for some reason, do that, you can go to Instagram. The link to my Instagram account is in the description box below the video, and you can send me a direct message there. Okay? Hello, CJ. All right, I'm going to go again. Well, we'll do this on the other side so that it's painted all the way through, because this one didn't get painted all the way through. So let's add a little bit more paint on the other side so that it is, and this is fabric paint that I'm using, so all I want to do is completely saturate this fabric with the paint. So it's gone all the way through. So I'm going to use a little bit of the teal called emerald green just to make sure it's saturated. Okay? All right. I'm going to go hang this up. And the reason it didn't saturate through is because there are some places here where the paint was really thick. So that's why it didn't penetrate all the way through the fabric. Okay? Hey, Riri. Okay, so we have hung those up to kind of drip dry a little bit. And what do I have left? I have one more piece of fabric that I thought we would paint. And because it doesn't have a lot on it, and I thought we would put some paint in the background, and then I may jelly plate over it later. I don't know. Anyway, it's this one. So I'm going to use up the paints I have here, and then I'll probably go get another color, and we'll see, because there's not going to be enough here. So we'll just do it and see what happens. What was it, Tina? What was on the picture card? Okay, Darla. Oh. Oh, that's fine, Brenda. No problem. No problem. I just wanted you to know that I hadn't gotten it yet. So, absolutely no problem. I'm going to make this a little stout, more stout, darker. Have a little more pigment. Just because. Give it some variety. But these bristles and this brush are really, really stiff. I don't know if these are still available, but they are very stiff bristles, which, you know, really is good for putting fabric paint on. If you have a brush that's too soft, then the paint just doesn't. It's hard to push paint into fabric if the bristles are too soft. So we'll use up the rest of this. Maybe we'll just use some of the magenta. Hope you guys have been having a good day today. It doesn't sound like Brenda had a great day. It's always bad when the computer does, when your computer does bad stuff. Those are hard days. Those are hard days. Okay, so let's put some magenta just because I have it here. I have the whole set of colors, but we're just going to use what I have, what I've dragged out already, okay? All right, put a little bit of water in here. Okay, so a little magenta and mix it up a little bit and finish adding color. And as I said, this will dry lighter because that's what acrylic paint does. But what I'm after is just to kind of tint in a background and just get something more interesting to work with. And I'm working with a fairly big piece of fabric here, and so it's a little hard to get it on screen so you can see the whole thing. But a big stiff brush like this makes pretty short work of doing this. And why not try it and see what you think. Okay. So there is this one, which had quite a bit of paint over here, so it's not going to penetrate a lot, but this section didn't have much paint on it. And I'm not going to worry about the back side of that one. So I'm just going to drip on whatever's left, and spread it around. And then I'm going to put it on a piece of, I've got some plastic sheeting. It's drop cloth sheeting because I don't have any more hanging space in the other room right now. So I'm going to just put it on here, on this plastic sheeting, and set it off to the side under my ceiling fan, and maybe that will get it dry enough we can see the color change by the end of the stream. Okay? Okay, so now somebody remind me that I need to show you those at the end of the stream. The gold is here. It's waiting to be busted out later. Yeah, it's waiting to be busted out. Okay. Now, we can do a couple of things. For example, we'll play with this one just a little bit. We're going to play a little bit with some of these slick writers, just because we can. There's plenty of black on this piece, so we don't need to do black. So let's go to the white. Hopefully there we go. These slick writers are famous for burping on your fabric. Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice visual? But they are. So you have to hopefully the air is down, or up in this case, at the bottom of your bottle. And then you start playing. And this paint is a little on the thick side. I'm going to zoom in, which means you won't see the entire piece, but you'll hopefully see where I'm working. So I'm just going to put some dots around some of these circles to get some white into this fabric. and lighten it up a little bit. See if I can keep you seeing where I'm working. But you do kind of have to be aware of the paint, and this is a little thicker than I'd like to have it. This has kind of got some age on it. So I'm going to see if thumping it from the bottom will have an effect on it. Sometimes it will, but this is fabric, not paper. Yeah, it looks like it's settling it out. So what I'm doing is I'm doing this underneath. Yeah, it did on some of them. Let's try this one over here a little bit more. There we go. That's a little better. Otherwise, you end up with this Hershey Kiss kind of top on it. And if that's what you like, that's great. If you don't like it, then try thumping it from underneath. Okay, so we'll do a little bit more of this. This is fabric paint. All right, let me see if I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. See if I can show it to you. Okay, do you see how those are sticking up from the surface, those dots? So if I thump them from under with my finger and my thumb, now that same little section of dots, the one closest, it's at the bottom of the fabric, that's the same one I just did, and those all settled out. So that sometimes that works, depends on the fabric, and it depends on the paint. Sorry, on the paint. All right, let's go back up here to this one. See if we can make these dots a little bit bigger, because I was being a little stingy with the paint up here. It takes a fat minute. It really does take a minute to kind of get your rhythm on any of this stuff. It will take a little bit till you decide what it is you want to do and how much of it you wish to do. Now see, there was an air bubble, so that's going to be an interesting splat. Right here is an air bubble, so I poked it. Yes, new Olympic event, thumping your work. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing up here. And this one, for whatever reason, I guess I must have not put any paint on this one. Okay, good enough. So we got some white going in that way. And hang on just a minute. Okay, sorry, I had a text message from my granddaughter. So we have those. Let's come out a little bit further so you can kind of see what's going on. And let's do some other things with the white. I'm trying to get my Dynaflows to cooperate over here. And I just dropped the lid from my paint, so here it is. Okay. Okay, so let's decorate some more dots just because. I don't want everything to have the same appearance by any means. The best thing you can do with this kind of stuff is just to play. And I think it's one of the hardest things that we as adults have to learn to do, the concept of playing, because we are taught to work and we are taught to be serious and we are taught a lot of things, but playing is not one of them. And there is so much joy to be had. Well, that one I did right next to its neighbors, so we'll go the other way too. In fact, I like that, so I'm going to do it again. There is so much joy in playing if you will just relax and let yourself do exactly that. Okay? And so what it's doing is, by adding the white, it is brightening it up. It's lightening it, brightening it. And then you can just think about some other things that you can do. Let's switch colors, actually. So we've got white. I can always come back and add more white. I love this green lime. We'll see if this one's going to work. See if the pen will help us out. These are old enough. I've had these paints for a long time. I should have gone and... Okay, that one's not going to work. Not that there's not paint in it. It's just that the tip is not going to perform. Alright, this one's going to work if I can get the paint mixed up. This one is Blazing Blue. Sometimes they the binder separates out from the paint, and so that's where you get in trouble, because then it comes out with this big glop of clear glue, clear gunk. Okay, so let's do just some hit or miss. Just to give yourself some choices of just choices of bits and pieces of the fabric. It's always good to give yourself choices. So just play, add stuff. The faster, in a lot of ways, the faster that you work, the better. Because then you take your head out of it and don't let yourself think too much. Overthinking is one of the things that I specialize in. I can overthink pretty much anything. And I do mean that. Yes, and there are people in my life that could attest to that. And I don't need any confirmation whatsoever, because I already know. Yeah, these paints do thicken up, and so if you've had them as long as I've had these, you might want to get get a few new containers, shall we say. All right, let's see if the gold one wants to work. So let's see if this gold one, this doesn't sound like it's shaking up very well, so. Well, maybe. Okay, we're just going to do some of those scribbles and just some random dots and some more scribbly things. And maybe some spirals. And this should be, this gold, if I remember right, dries down to be kind of a nice color of gold. So just play. And I don't have to have something on every single one of these dots, but you know, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, but it would be so nice to have something on every dot. Right, Dorothy? Dorothy's probably asleep by now. And if you get into the wet paint that's there, you're gonna drag it around with you because it's wet paint. That's why it's called wet. Okay. I'm gonna turn it around because I'm getting a little risky with my getting my hand into it. It's a little risky business sometimes. That turquoise is not showing up very well, but you know, it doesn't all have to show up, does it? Add some squiggly lines in the gold. Okay, and maybe we'll just make a little grid because these dots are in an even grid pattern on the stencil that I used. So maybe we'll just see if I can use up some of these paints. It'll give me an excuse to go buy some new bottles of paint. Like I need an excuse, right? Okay. So there is kind of some added embellishment there. Let's see what other colors I have that might spark this other part up a little bit more over here. Well, here is a red. If we can get this red to work, that might be really good. I have black and I have another black. These are both metallics. I don't want to use those. And maybe we'll see if this iridescent Aloha Orchid will work. It is a Scribbles paint. This is a tulip. So let's see, shall we? Let's start with the Scribbles and see if it works. You're glad I went big? Here we go. All right. Let's use this one. And this time, let's go around the circles. Kind of like so. I don't really care if the circles are complete or round or anything. I'm just adding some color. All right, let's go see if this red will work. Looks like it's going to work. Okay. I'll do something similar. And don't ask me why I'm doing this, because I don't have an answer for you. So if you ask me, I'm going to say I don't know. All right, so we have red and purple. I'm going to go back to the gold. And then maybe this one will go this way, that way, this way, that way. And then this one, just adding a row of spirals, just because it's really not a good project unless you have spirals, you know. Okay, let's go. If you do repetitive patterns, sometimes that's very calming to your head. Okay, these aren't working for me, so I'm going to turn them into a plus. It was looking a little too naked-like. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to the white. I wish this was a little thinner, but it's not. Maybe this other one. I'm going to see if this other one's any thinner. I have another container of white right here. We'll see if it's any thinner. It doesn't even sound like it's got any liquid in it at all. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's not great, but we'll try it. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just do groups of 3 dots. Because you know the old saying, when in doubt, dot. Right? Yep. And then we'll try the thump trick and see if we can get them to settle out a little bit, because we can. Maybe. The tip will get kind of get gunky, so you might have to wipe its little nose every once in a while. Oh, that was interesting. Okay. So what we've done is just kind of make more pattern. All right, let's thump it and see if we can get those dots to settle down a little bit. Sometimes they will want to run together a little bit. Yeah, that settled them settled them down so that they're not quite so pointy. And I'm just doing that to some of the other colors just to see if they settle down. Okay, and so if I really wish this green was working, really wish this green was working. Let me try poking a pin down in it again. Okay, the pin came back green, so there is paint. Nope, it's not going to work. Okay, whatever. That's when you look at it and go, okay, whatever, and ignore it. Okay, anything else in my little arsenal of goodies that I can maybe use? There's some shimmer turquoise, and what is this? Iridescent golden turquoise. That's not golden whatsoever. All right, let's see if we can, here, let's do these two. See if they'll work. This is an orange, iridescent mango orange. There you go. All right, let's see if it will work. Iridescent mango orange. They won't. No, the dots don't settle out over time. They don't. They sure don't. Okay, all I'm going to do here is just some random bits of orange, or as Race used to call it, orange. And there are some paints on the market I have used in the past that do settle out, but my experience with these is if they're thick, they don't settle. So what I'm doing is just doing kind of a scratchy mark here and there with this iridescent mango orange. Probably looks a little dirty on the screen to you guys, but it's actually kind of a nice burnt orange color. And then I'm going to see if this yellow, we'll see what this is. This color is iridescent tropical yellow. Can you dip into green acrylic to dye? Oh, sure, absolutely. You can dip. These just happen to be fabric paints, and so that's why I'm using them. But yeah, you can, as long as you've got liquidy paint, you sure can. You can just dot to your heart's content. think you can never have too many dots. So I'm just doing scratchy thing. And you know, when I do stuff like this, I just do it, and sometimes I can't tell you how many times I have created fabrics and I go, man, that's the ugliest thing I ever made in my entire life, you know? And I put it away and I forget about it. And then I'll go back and go back through my stash to see what colors, I'm looking for something, either inspiration, or I'm looking for a specific color fabric or something. I don't know. I just start looking, poking around and stuff, and I will run onto these fabrics or papers that I've done, and I'll think, now, if memory serves me right, I really hated this one. And you go, I wonder what it was I hated about that, because I'm really kind of liking it now, And they often are some of my very favorite, become my favorite fabrics or papers because I've walked away from them. You just let them settle, stay away. That's a good idea, Linda. So I'm just kind of sprinkling around some new, add a new bit of sunshine over here on this one. And maybe we'll do that with the orange one too, because why not? Because why not? Maybe we'll do some dots with the orange one. I like this orange. I do like this orange color. Okay, let's do some dots. One of the other things that I like to do when I do a wiggly line like this, I like to nestle a little dot into the wiggle. And that, I don't know that you guys can see that, but that is kind of a fun way to add color. And it creates a pattern. So I'm just sticking random stuff on here. This is where you get in dangerously close to the land of too much, the too muchness. And okay, you guys don't faint. Because what I'm about to do, you're going to go, oh no, I can't believe she did that. Okay, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's just paint and fabric. And if I can make it again, okay? All right, you ready? Hold your breath, because you're not going to like this. Some of you are not going to like it. But and it didn't even affect it a whole lot, not nearly as much as I expected it would. Sometimes you need to just do stuff just to see what kind of effect you're going to get out of it. Okay? And I'm really putting pressure on it to see if I can get that paint to move and smear. And I got it to do it over here because that's what I'd most recently done. So I'm good with that. I especially like this section over here. Now I like this too, but I like this a whole lot. Anyway, so this is going to sit and this is going to dry. And I'm not going to do any more to this one at this point. I'm just going to let it sit. And what time is it? I'm going to do just a couple of applications of paint on the jelly plate. Get rid of my paints here. And, all right, what did I do with the plate? Here it is. Because I just want to do this thing, and I thought you guys might as well be here to do it with me. Okay, so I've got the plate out. I have not cleaned it. I have not done anything to it since the last time we were together. So there's going to be some stuff that's going to pull off this plate. We know that. Okay? Because this has got some crud on the plate. And what I have here, I like to take ugly paper, or outdated papers, and print on them. And I thought, what the heck? Let's take fabric that I don't care for at this point in my artistic ventures, and let's put some paint on this and see what happens. Good night, Dot. Sleep well. Yep, no excuses. Okay, so let's take this fabric. It's a cotton fabric. It's a print. And let's put some paint on it, shall we? Because why not? Let's see what happens. So, what color shall we work with? I think we should use that one and that one to start with, okay? And let's just do it. Let's just go for it. So, yellow. Whoop, that was a lot. Okay, and some of this brilliant yellow green. Okay, and adding in a little bit of textile medium. And I'm going to, and this piece of fabric is a fat quarter of fabric, so it'll take a while to get enough paint on it to really affect it a lot, but let's go for it and see. So I'm just gonna mess up the plate a little bit, and I don't have anything here to clean off my brayer. Hold on a minute. So we're just gonna open an old dictionary and add some paint. That'll clean off the brayer. Okay. And I'm going to texture this a little bit. Okay, here we go. Now, what did I do with the fabric? Okay, I'm going to just print on the fabric and let's see what happens. Let's see if we like it. If we don't, if we don't like it, we don't like it, right? But I often like to start with something besides a naked piece of paper. I thought, well, let's start with something besides a naked piece of fabric. I like the fabric already. Much better than I did before. So we're gonna add some more, and then Okay, I can get into this. Yes, I can. Okay, let's do some more of this color combo. This time let's use the green, and let's use this, which is Ocean Green. Bye, Dana. Good to see you. So I'm going to stay here and do this for a little while if you guys want to hang out, or if you don't, it's okay. Hey, Linda Renz, I have your mailing address, so you don't have to contact me. That's because you guys sent me something recently, so I still have your envelope hanging out on my desk. All right, and let's do that same texture thing again, except I put down my texture tool somewhere. How can you like have everything right at your fingertips, and then here it is, and then you set it down? Okay. All right, let's go with a little bit of this color. Yep, I'm liking it. I can like it. Once the fabric gets damp, the wrinkles will settle out of it. Man, I don't know what stinks, if it's the fabric or the plate. The paint. Something over here is not, something is smelling, ugh. I do have kind of a sensitive nose sometimes, so could be the fabric, the dye and the finish and the fabric. Oh, cool, Rhonda. I'd love to see how it looks. Oh, good, Denise. That's good. Okay. All right, let's look at it. Okay, so there's part of it. When I do this stuff, especially like on paper, I often start with stencils and water-soluble spray stains, like Distress spray stain or Diane Reevely's spray stain. I forgot what they're called, but anyway, her stains that are so water-soluble and so intense. And I love starting with that as my background before I start doing jelly plate, or more than that, I use the paste paper technique on it, because it will start moving things around, but yet you still see some of the stencil pattern, or in this case you see some of the pattern underneath, but soon these are not going to be identifiable as angels. They're just going to be a part of the texture, visual texture of the background. I love that, and I think of that as kind of going down below the surface, like below the water level. That's what it reminds me of as they sink down. But see, I don't know if you guys like that, but I am liking what's happening. Okay, let's do a little bit more. This time I'm going to use the green again. This time I'm going to use Viridian with the green. So it is different than this one. Even though they are similar, it is different. And actually, maybe we'll put a little dab of yellow in there and just, I don't know why. Just because because. And I flip over to a new page in my dictionary. I'll end up with a whole bunch of pages stuck together before this is over, but you know, it's okay. Oh, I got a nice thread hanging out, trying to sneak in and be part of the play tonight. It does take more paint when you're printing on fabric, I find, than working with fabric. Than working with paper. So if you're going to print on fabric, it will take more paint, I find. You may find something different, but that's what I find. Okay, we're going to go in here, see if we can print this section. There we go. We got a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna see. I'm just trying to get it all kind of covered with paint, some sort of background texture to start with. And then we can always come back with additional layers of paint. Okay. I know I'm flipping it back and forth pretty fast. I'll give you a better look here in a minute. I'm trying to pull the paint off the plate while it is pretty wet. Tonight I did remember to put some skin protectant on my hands, so paint will come off easier tonight than it did on Friday. That was a bit of a challenge. It was a bit of a challenge getting all that paint off my hands on Friday. Okay, so I've gotten almost all of this coated. This part hasn't been up here. And a little bit in here. Boy, the threads are sticking to my sticky fingers now that I've got paint on them. See, the hands of a, oh, it's on my engagement ring. That's kind of bad, isn't it? I probably should not have on it. Probably should not have on a nice ring when I'm jelly plate printing, huh? I think it came off. Anyway, so we're going to do one more application of paint here. Let's go with, I'm going to go back to the green and blue. I like that better than the yellow and the green for sure. For sure. I bet, Rhonda, that'll be fun. How old is your niece that you're going to do this with? When you turn kids loose, well, kids, anybody that's younger than me is a kid now. When you turn them loose with a jelly plate, it is like, watch out, because they can do some of the most incredible things. They're not intimidated by it. They're not afraid of it, you know? They'll just go for it. Okay, let's do, I have this one section left here to get paint on. There we go. And I'm going to go over this section here a little bit. tamp down some of the yellow. I will show it to you here in a second. Okay, I've got one more. Okay, I'll show you this again in just a second. I have another piece of fabric here. It's a wild piece of fabric, very wild piece of fabric. And before this all goes away, I'm going to see if I can pull up whatever's left here. If you have a Baron, which I do not have, but if you had a Baron, this is a good place to use it. And a Baron is a heavier, it's a heavy print, I don't know, object for printing. It's a heavy thing. It's round and it's heavy and it has a handle on it. And it puts pressure on when you're printing. It will help to kind of lift the stuff off the surface of the print plate. So there is that bit. So you can see this is what it looked like before. This is what it looked like with one application of paint, which was not very liquidy because I'd already pulled off a bunch of it. She's 19. Oh, cool. That'll be fun. Okay, so as this, my intention for this fabric is to do the same thing, is to jelly plate over it, and we may do this, continue on this on Friday on this one, I don't know, and see what we can get it to do with the various layers. But for now, I'm going to use it as kind of my cleanup fabric. I have more pieces of this, so I can use it to clean things up with. Okay, let's look at this one better. Now that I have paint, the first layer of paint over pretty much the entire surface. Tell you, when you start doing jelly plate stuff, you cannot have enough, you just can't have too much space. So that has added color and a little bit of opacity over that print. Okay? All right. So now let's do, because it doesn't matter what we choose. It does not matter. We're just, I mean, I have more of this ugly fabric also. So it does not matter what I choose, because whatever it is, it is. I'm just cleaning up the tops of my paint tubes a little bit, otherwise they won't close and then you end up with this big yuck on the tops of your tubes. Let's go to let's do, just because we can, let's go to this, which is light magenta. And the string is determined. It's going to be able to play in the paint. It's a raveling from the edge of the fabric. It's determined it's going to be invited to the party, and I don't really want it to right now. So that is, what did I tell you this was? Light magenta. And let's use some purple. And we may throw in a little bit of neon too, just because you know what? Why not? This is fluorescent pink, sorry, not neon, fluorescent. I would like to use up this tube of paint. I do like it. Some fluorescent or neon colors are they don't show up very well. This one does pretty well. They tend to be really super translucent. Okay. So let's mix this up on the plate with some, I'm always putting some fabric medium with it. It helps to thin the paint a little bit. It also helps it to stick to your fabric better. And if your cat throws up on it, not that my cat would ever do such an egregious thing on purpose, it should help it to bind to your fabric a little bit better, hopefully. Okay, let's do this. This is just adding some texture, and in case you weren't here Friday and didn't see what this is, it's a strip of fun foam that's wound up in it's a strip, fringed, wound up and held together with duct tape. So it's soft enough that it should not damage the plate, but it's also sturdy enough that it will actually make some marks. So I'm going to put this stencil down here, and let's see if we can get some leaves and see what this looks like. Pull some leaves up through the stencil. Aha! Yes, I do like that. Okay, turned around so you can see it. I like that. All right, I'll take this off. This particular stencil is a Joggles stencil. All right, let's go over here. I'm not going to go real heavy with that. I'm just after getting another color on this, but not real heavy. Okay, so we got leaves happening. Okay, we got leaves happening there, and color, and a little color. Let's see if we can get a little more color off of here. Just color. Okay, a little more color. And I like the pops of the fluorescent pink that show up. That's one of the reasons I like those fluorescent colors. If you have a good fluorescent color, they give you something that you can't really get any other way, you know? Okay, let's see if we can change the tone, not tone. Let's go, we'll add some white, and that will tint this a little bit. This white tube is clogged up, and its little nose needs to be soaked in hot water. Okay, and let's add a little more purple again. Maybe, no, let's add a little blue. Okay. Okay. Probably going a little heavier with the paint than I really need to at this point. But you know what? It's only paint. And these are not expensive paints. If I was printing with golden fluid acrylics, I would be a little more judicious with the paint probably. But these are student grade acrylics. Give it a little texture again. And let's put on you know, I just can't resist. I cannot resist a good spot. You know, this is one of my all-time favorite, totally and completely favorite stencils. So I have to use it. I have to. It's part of the, it's a rule. I'm pretty sure it's a rule in my world. Spots. Yep, I'm pretty sure it's a rule in my world that you got to have this stencil in everything. Yep, okay, and then let's see if we got anything left here. A few more random spots as the paint begins to be used up. It will, and I'm going to use this. I'm just going to go in that same place. The paint gets lighter. It makes it a little bit more random, which is great. Okay. And then I'm going to put this down, wrong side down, or the other right side down. And I'm going to take the stencil, which has paint on it, and put it right down on there. I have another piece of that fabric that I'm just going to stick down over the top of it, just like I'm going to keep the paint off my hands, right? Okay, that didn't do much. That was just to pretty much keep the paint from getting more on my hands. And I got a little bit of visual texture there. A little bit of texture here. Not a whole lot, but some. And a little more that we got there. Let's see what's on the back. There's a little bit. Okay, you know, I think what I'm going to do with this piece of fabric now is I think that I am going to stop putting paint on it, at least for tonight, maybe. I do have these really nice butterflies here, though. I was kind of thinking it would be nice to print those. I don't know. I should stop. I should stop while my thinking says stop, and I'll get the fabrics that we did and I'll show them to you. That might be the best thing, because I'm thinking what I might want to do with this is just go to using markers and the slick writers and stuff, because I kind of like what's happening. I like that there's still some of the angels and things peeking through, but for the most part, until you get into right here, I mean, I like how you get a little bit of reindeer, a few stars poking through, you know. So I think that this has got some real possibilities as it is, but it certainly shifted from what it looked like, which was this, right? Before, after. Now, if you are a purist, you're going to like this one. If you're not, you might like this one better. Anyway, I think that's what I'm going to do. So, if you guys will indulge me for a moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper And what we're going to do is we're going to pull a cleanup print. We'll get as much off as we can. And so we're going to do that with a piece of paper or two. And I'm just going to put some white, just regular acrylic. And then I'm going to get the fabrics, and we're going to look at those. So I'm just putting white, this is a craft acrylic now, on here to see if we can get some of this paint to come off. This is where you want to use a thinner coat as opposed to a thicker coat of paint. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some scrap paper that I have here. It's just copy paper. And we're just going to put this on here and see if we can get it to pull up some of what's left on the plate. Normally I do this with a 12 by 12 sheet, but you know, I had to walk in the other room to get that. This is where you get into how do you spell lazy? Again, this is where it would be a good spot to have a Baron, which I don't have one. We'll use this bottle of water, see if we can get that to kind of help. Okay. It's going to pull up a little bit of it. I don't expect it to pull it all up, but if we can get some of it to pull up, that'd be great. You like the transition? Yeah, I like it. You know, it was just something I was thinking about. I thought, well, let's try it and see what happens, you know, because I like what it does to fabric. I mean, I like what it does to paper. I can get much of that. Got a little bit, pulled up a little bit of the paint. Not a whole lot. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. Let me get another piece of paper. And let's go again. I'm going to go with a little bit more paint and slap this paper right down there on it. Sometimes you just got to quit while you're ahead and clean the plate. Not maybe. You got to have enough paint to pull it up, but not so much that it won't activate and pick up the paint under it. You also can let it just sit, let your paper sit on the plate until it dries. And, you know, I never have been patient enough to do that. Maybe I'll try to be that patient tonight, huh? Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding that I'm going to be that patient? Okay, the paper's getting damp, so that's a good sign. All right, let's see. All right, we still got quite a bit of it to pull up, so that's good. That's cleaner than it was, so it's all good. It's all good. All right, let me get the fabrics that we did tonight. Let me go retrieve those. I'll be right back, and we'll look at them. Okay. So the ones I'm going to show you are the ones that we dyed, basically, for lack of a better word, painted or dyed the background. Okay, here we go. Got way too many wet things hanging out here on my table. Way too many wet things. Okay. There's this one. So as I said, when they dry, they lighten up a lot. And that's the other side of it. So this was with Dynaflow. The Dynaflow paints diluted down. These behave similarly to a dye. That's why they're called Dynaflow, but that is a paint. So there's that one. Here's this one, which can use some help with the slick writers and so forth, which I did not do. I just painted it. Painted in the background. The background was just the off-white of the muslin. So there's that one. And then here's this one, which there was everything here that's in the purples and blues and pinks. That was all the off-white of the muslin. Same thing over here. Okay, and this one I did not paint anything on the back side. So there's those three. Then here is this one that we did with the slick writers, and then I just used the scraping tool and scraped over it all and smeared whatever I could get to smear. The white dot smeared alike. I love how that worked. And these were the ones that we did the other day that I did not touch tonight. There's this one and this one. Both of these I like the way they are. I'm going to try to leave them alone, but it's hard to leave things alone, I admit. And then we had this one that started out like this. It was an angel print that I was never going to use again, and so I had to find a way to repurpose it, and I thought I'll repurpose it on the jelly plate and see what happens, and I like it. So there you go. Okay. My hands are full of stickiness from paint, and I have lots of paint everywhere. I'm sure I have it. I'm sure I'm wearing it somewhere on my body other than just my hands. Anyway, there you go. Thank you guys for spending your time here tonight or today or whenever you're watching. I'm glad you were hanging out with me. I love doing what I do. So I will see you guys on, today is Monday. I have to remember what day it is. Today's Monday. I'll be back on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We may continue the jelly plate trend for another 1 or 2 printing sessions because we can. And because I love having my stash of hand-painted, hand-printed things was getting low, so it's time to make some new stuff, because then I have it and I can do some more stuff with it. Thanks for being here, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll be back on Friday. Remember, until then, remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. Just do something. Be kind to each other. Be kind and do something unexpected for somebody in your life, whether you know them or not. And I will see you on Friday. Until then, see you later. Bye, everybody.